All right, everybody, welcome in. Good morning. Get your snacks and park your ass in your chair because we are here once again with the developer of Warlord Britannia. How's it going, Dark? Yeah, you're on the East Coast, so not as early for you. Slaving away. Hey, Ghost Wolf is now following. Thanks for the follow, man. Glad to have you. So, let's talk Ghost. Why don't you tell us what's the name of this update? Whoa, hold on. Oops, sorry. Good call, Prob. Good call, Prob. From the top, I had to fix the audio settings. You should be coming
Oh,
through
okay.
now, Dark. There we are.
All
Okay,
right.
so guys, welcome back to Boon and Bros, and this is our second Q and A. What am I talking about? Our second Q and A with the developer live here with all of you guys, introducing Darkmatter of Darkmatter Games. Say what's up, Dark.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Darkmatter.
He's been working hard at
Yeah.
getting this update out. So, like I said, let's start again. Tell us what's the name of this update?
Yeah, so this is Logistics and Outposts 5.0. So it's the fourth major update for the game. If you think the game launched in version 1.0, so this is so we're a few iterations, but yeah, so like the main thing in this one is of course the new logistics and
Yeah.
resources.
So
So
tell
yeah.
us a little bit about that. Like, what resources are going to be added to the game?
Yeah, so the main thing is food
Oh,
and
so
something
food.
called food and then something called supplies. So supplies is kind of like a catch-all term for like
Yeah.
for like just like just like little things that you need to maintain your force.
Yes, of
And then
course. Yeah.
food is just to keep your men your men healthy essentially. So
Exactly. So now,
yeah.
is food going to be a thing that we need to survive? Like, will you start losing men and they'll die if you don't have enough food?
So you won't start losing people, but they will basically become super weakened.
Super weakened,
So
so they'll get a
yeah,
debuff.
yeah. So you need to keep right. Yeah, exactly. So you need to keep a good amount of food and everything. To have your army basically working at its full potential, um, essentially. So yeah, and also if you actually if you end up with like a surplus of food, you can actually even get a little bit of a bonus for your troops
Okay, so
too.
if you're filled up on supplies and food, you can get a bonus too. So it works both ways.
Yes,
That's good. Okay.
you're right,
So now,
exactly.
are
Yep.
we going to be harvesting food from the natural landscape, like bushes and animals and hunting and shit, like we send our workers out, or is this something that we're
It's
going to be looting from settlements?
it's not like yeah. So r- r- yeah, so this will basically work the same way as money has worked in the past.
Okay.
So you'll be able to loot it. You'll be able to steal it from convoys, and you'll be able to set
We can
basically set
tax it
those
as well.
those like extraction options. Right, exactly.
So we can
Yeah, so
tax
it'll be
food
like the kind
like
of thing that
gotcha.
can increase. Yeah, yeah. So it'll increase like your unrest. If you do that. So now you kind of need to manage those two things as well. So it's not just having to manage your money with the unrest. Now you also have to think about how much food and supplies you're going to take.
Right.
Um, and yeah, yeah. And some settlements will have more food than others, and some will have more supplies.
Awesome.
So you have to think about what you need. And so basically how it works is like each one of your he, each one of your legionaries basically has food and supply you know
Requirements.
yeah, yeah, like a requirement. So and some of the units have more of a food requirement, than some have more of you know you know a supply requirement. So some of the ones that that require a lot more more supplies or things like archers and artillery, because they're going to be using like a lot of ammo. Um, so for those, you'd have to think to yourself, okay, I need to capture, a settlement, that's going to give me more, more of, supplies.
Gotcha.
Um, or you won't really be able to,
So
sustain
now,
those new
so
troops.
normally your larger villages and cities have more gold and silver. Are we going to see larger supply pools from places like your farms and your smaller places where like the farm should, in my mind, should have the most food supply, even though it doesn't have a lot of gold or silver, it's got more food. So is there going to be that balance where it's like kind of the big cities have
Um,
more gold and stuff and the smaller cities have more food and supplies or
not Not really, because essentially how it works is it just scales, how much you get by by how many uh, people are actually living there.
okay.
Um,
So is
yeah,
it
yeah. So
based
you'll
on the
still be able to
nobles
get
or
more stuff.
the serfs?
So right. So how it works is his serfs give you food,
Mm.
and the nobles give you supplies.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes
So
sense. Gotcha. So
yeah,
just
yeah.
like the
So you
gold and
actually
silver
won't even
system.
be able. Right. Yeah, yeah. So it's basically essentially like like gold and silver, but
Mhm.
there's a couple little
Yeah.
things that are
And
different.
it gives reason to have it gives reason to have the to go after those smaller farms too because with the amount
Yes.
of serfs you can
Right.
get easy food supply. Um
Yes, you
that being
can.
said, I just had an idea
Yep.
the way stations, they're always kind of been a smaller target, but that seems like
Mhm.
hanging out at those way stations could be more of a lucrative option now.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and especially, now it's especially useful, to go after uh convoys, because convoys, can come from anything, so they might actually have a lot more supplies, where like where it would be a lot easier, to take out convoy,
Right.
than one of
Then
those, larger,
larger
you
towns, yeah,
know,
so it gives you a reason to
yeah,
start
yeah, like
fighting in the
hamlets or
field,
something. Right.
which
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
excited for. You
exactly.
know that Leggett Boone loves field battles.
Yes.
That I
Definitely.
do. So
Yep.
let's talk about the outposts. So we got a good idea of the logistics and what's going on there. Let's talk about the outposts and what you're
Yep.
adding with that. How are we going to be doing that?
Yeah. So basically, the outpost is, um, like it essentially gives you, the ability to create more spaces. So you always have,
Your main
your
flag.
home base. Right. Yeah, yeah. So you always have your home base, but then what you can do, um, is you can basically, you can use your build tool, to go out there and actually, set up, new flags. Um,
Okay. How many extra
then
flags
what
will
you
you
do
get? So how many outposts can you build right now with this update?
right now, there's not really a limit, but the thing is, you would need to actually, man the outposts. And
Okay.
you only have, a certain amount of troops. I mean, so if you place, a bunch of flags, they're just, it's just, like a flag in the dirt. It doesn't actually, it doesn't actually mean anything, right?
Right.
But
But it does expand that build zone. So, like in my fort right now, I'm kind of reaching the edge of that build zone where my flag is because
right,
my
so you
flag's
could
kind of in the
use
back of the
those.
camp. So, I could put another
Yeah,
flag closer up on the other side of the citadel and expand my base as well.
you could potentially use it that way too. Yes,
Huh.
yeah, you could.
So, guys, I can't wait to see the crazy builds you guys build with these outposts. I'm saying if there's no limit, I mean, I already hit the skybox with the Citadel of Oppression. You guys were there live when I did it. And now I can't wait to see what
Yep.
fun things we can start building with. Now, let me ask you this, and people are probably going to want to know, are there any new buildings being added right now to this update?
So that was one of the things, I had listed in there, right? I was going to add more more options,
Mhm.
but I actually ended up running out of time. So that is going to be in kind of like a 5.1
Gotcha.
one
So
version.
we'll see a patch with some addition to new blocks. So maybe here in a couple of weeks, we'll
Yeah, yeah,
have
because I had yeah, 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 exactly. Because I had like a bunch of ideas for that, but I had to get the logistics and outposts thing actually working
yeah.
first, which ended up using up all my time until
Yeah.
Steam's sale.
So we
So
can literally
just kind of
just
running up against that.
We can literally just make a like a Roman, like the Romans have dropped off building supplies, or they sent an engineer, like an engineering update where they added a bunch of new buildings for this update of
Yeah,
5.1
yep,
or
it'll
something
be
like that.
something like that.
All right, cool. Well,
Exactly.
we're getting
Yeah.
we're getting into it, and I know the chat is getting high here. Are there any other big features right now before we open it up to the chat questions that you want to
Yeah,
promote, or anything else that's going to be added in here that you think is going to, enhance or change up the gameplay? Because I know
well,
already with the food and
yeah.
supplies issue, that's going to throw my playthrough through a wrench. Is it save
Yeah, it's gonna be
compatible,
a little
or am I
different.
going to have to start a new save?
It is, save compatible. I'm not gonna say it's completely safe, safe, to reload a save, because there's always, a chance,
Right.
something will go wrong. But
Hmm.
but it seems, from what I've been seeing, it seems like you're pretty safe to reload a save. And I actually added in something where, if you reload a save, from an old version, it will basically set that food and that food, like extraction option. It will basically set that on like all the sediments, like you've already captured. So you won't just, reload into the game and have, your whole army, basically just,
Starving.
starving, right? Because
Gotcha.
that would be pretty bad. So
Gotcha.
yeah, it should be fine to reload saves. But one thing we didn't talk about yet is basically what the outposts actually do. And
Mm.
so what they do is they actually is is they actually like attach themselves to the nearest um, settlement, and then what that does is it basically it sort of locks out all of the negative effects uh, of a high unrest for that location.
So
So
if
you can
you put
basically
it,
use these as a
okay,
way to
to
stop unrest.
now,
Um,
if you put it next to, so you're talking about putting it next to an enemy town to keep that unrest down.
right.
How close does it
Well,
have to
yeah.
be? Well, I guess also if you take it, because you can get unrest in towns that you own. But so, how close do
hmm
you have to be to the town in order for that to take effect? Is that like you have to be right up next to it, or is this something
It
you just
doesn't
have to
have to be
be in the
close.
area?
Yeah, yeah, it just has to be within, like an area of it. Because basically what it does is, like when you place down, one of, the flags, it will basically look to find which location
Is the
is
closest.
is the closest.
Now,
Yeah, yeah. So you
will
can,
it tell you in some way?
it's
So when
pretty
you
easy to
plant the
use.
flag down, it'll tell you, this outpost is for Rosa River.
It doesn't do that, but that would be a nice thing,
5.1.
to add in. Yeah, yeah,
5.1.
yeah. I mean,
Now,
I'm
yeah,
always looking,
we're
for
going to have a
suggestions.
bunch of
So
great ideas the second I get my hands
yeah,
on this. So we're going to be
definitely.
we'll see some tweaks here. So, guys,
Yep.
is it so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So the outpost attached to the nearest town, which will help lower the
Yeah.
unrest in that way. Does it also affect the convoys going to that town, where convoys won't be as often in that region, in or out? I
Yeah.
think it
It
does.
it it stops them from actually stopping at that location. But one thing it won't stop is if there happens to be a convoy
Passing
that's
through,
going through that
but
area.
it won't
Yeah, yeah.
start
So
or
you would
stop
need
in that
to
town.
defend them too. Right. Exactly.
So, but
Yeah.
that does
Yeah.
also, so that comes into some strategic gameplay. It gives you a way to kind of control where the convoys come from. So I know with
Yes.
me, I have a lot of convoys coming right through that line. So if I were to cut off one
Mm,
of those other towns,
right.
on the either
Then that would
side of me,
potentially stop them.
either
Yeah.
side of cameras over here, either side of me from here, if I cut off this town, then they'll stop going like this in between, hitting my fortress
Yeah.
over and over again. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's a cool
That could be
thing.
very useful. Yeah, and one other thing they do is they actually give you a boost to basically all of the food and money that you get
Nice.
from that settlement, and it's a pretty serious boost too.
Okay,
You
so
know,
setting up outpost will boost
yeah.
your, so getting a town and then setting up your settlement next
Instead
to
of
that town, you're gonna get a
if you
ton
create an outpost
of.
next to that one, that's going to be a really really good
Now,
idea.
here's the
Yeah,
question. Is that affected by the men in the outpost, or just the flag itself? So you're telling me I could just go up and plant the flag and walk away and I'm gonna get that
you
boost?
can't do that.
Okay, dang.
Nice idea, but no, you
Just
can't
start
do
putting
that.
flags next to everyone.
Now, yeah, you had some people, like were thinking of that. They're like, hey, why don't I just do that? But yeah. So basically, what you have to do is you have to actually, like assign, troops there for you to get that,
What's the minimum
those
troops?
status effects. You just have to, assign anything there.
Okay.
So, you could assign, like one, like auxiliary, sentry, or like a legionary sentry, like or whatever you wanted. But yeah,
Yeah,
what it does is it
it
does
would be
assign
cool
a
if you
whole
could do
sentry at
that.
once.
It assigns the whole century at once.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. So you
cool.
have to
See,
break
yeah,
those off.
I was gonna say like in the Legion menu, if there was like a drop down and I could like select
It
between the
already has
outposts
that.
and dude,
That's what it
sick.
has. Yep.
That's so sick. I can't wait to
Wait
see
till you
that.
see it. Yeah, it'll be cool.
And guys, don't
Yeah,
forget the release is going to be happening right at the end of this stream. It's going to be going
yeah.
live.
Shoot. Oh,
So
I actually need. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So they can't see my desktop, right?
nope, no,
Okay.
just
I
us.
just
You're
need to
just
get
on
the build
camera here.
going.
Yeah, do
Okay.
that. Do that. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to
Or else it
open it up
won't
now.
actually launch.
I'm going to open it up now to the chat. Guys,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
hear
I
your
can answer
questions
questions while I do
for
this.
Dark Matter. Let's get the questions in the chat here. I'm going to try to answer them best I can and get them going. But let's see. Maximo wants to know, building farms. Will we ever be able to build farms to get our own food supply at the forts?
No,
maybe if
you
we
won't be able
assign
to build
workers? No.
your own food things.
Yeah,
No,
Romans didn't really.
you just need.
Yeah.
They're not going to be really farming.
No,
for
they're
something
there.
like
They're
this.
there to subjugate and take.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there an update on the GeForce Now thing I wrote to you about on Steam?
GeForce Now. I think I remember that. What was that pertaining to again? I kind of forget.
I'm not quite sure about the GeForce
I'm
Now
not
thing.
sure.
That might be a question for hit us up in the Discord so we can do a little bit more
Yeah, if you
research
do that,
on that.
I can answer that.
Boone, are you still planning on streaming on Monday? Yes, of course. We're going to be streaming on Monday with the new update, and and a sneak peek before the scheduled date. I'm actually going to be doing a stream right now here at 1:00 with the new update today. So we're going to get an extra episode here today live. Check that out. And guys, also on that note, we have 1 week left. We're decided to extend the clip contest. Get your best Warlord Britannia clips and put them in the Boone and Bros Discord to submit them under clip contest. And we'll be giving away 3 keys to the game, which we will choose and announce on my stream next week.
Pretty good.
And on top of that, we will be giving away some other prizes, possibly some merch. So enter your clip contest for the best Warlord Britannia clip and become the clip king. Let's see what other questions are coming up here in the chat.
Got the build all ready to go. So
how did you end up becoming such a young developer? This is a great question.
That is a good question. Well, I started young. I started when I was in high school, working on this kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, back then, I wasn't really able, to do a whole lot, but, I just slowly, just kept, increasing my, my skills. It's always good, to learn, learn how to do new things, so I'm always trying, to learn more. Because that's
and as I understand, you basically taught yourself how to use the software that you're using to develop.
Yeah,
I
didn't take any
research and.
Yeah. I've never taken any, I've never taken any like lessons, on how to use, Unity or anything. I mean, I have taken, like, CS courses, but that's not even really, like scripting, for video games. It's just more, like how to code in general, but that's also, a very good thing to know.
Nice. But, and we've got attention everyone. Awesome Carmelo has just donated $5. Thank you so much, Awesome Carmelo. And he asks, is there going to be multiplayer co-op or PvP?
Everyone asks that.
Yes, everyone wants they want to play with the bros.
I know, that would be really fun. I don't want to say there is going to be that because it seems like it'd be very, very hard to add. But
with the way the game is designed right now, the way the game is designed right now, it would be hard to implement that in a way.
It would have to be like a drop in, multiplayer, like where you'd be able, join, a friend's game as one of his,
Centurions. Maybe you could drop in and be one of the Centurions, and you have to get the men follow you, and you have to make them line up with all the other ones. That would be cool.
Yeah,
and then either that or just having it where your friends can drop in and just be one of the town's chieftains, and they control the barbarians, and they can take the barbarians out. They can defend the town or take the barbarians out of the town and go attack.
Yeah.
So let me scroll back up here. Awesome Carmelo skipping the line with his super chat. Any update on Troop AI?
Troop AI. Well, there's an update to the workers. So now the workers are new and improved. Um, so so the workers now, I basically just rewrote all of their their systems, and so now they can actually work on the same structures at the same time too. So that's another good thing.
Okay,
There
awesome.
hasn't been an update to the Trooper AI though.
Gotcha. So another question from Maximo here. Will there be any naval battles, maybe?
No,
No. Naval battles are just a
that
flat out
definitely no.
not going to happen because I mean I don't
Definitely not
even
gonna
think
happen.
there are actual water physics. It's just a mesh right now,
No,
correct?
there
Yeah,
is not.
because I'm pretty sure you can just run under the water and soak in your men.
That's like the last thing on my it's not even on my list.
Mm. So
Naval
okay, I
stuff.
got a good question
That
here
could be
from
a different
Chaotic
game.
Catholic. Will I be able to send troops to capture less convenient places, like being able to send a couple sentries
Mm.
and say, "Go capture that way station"?
You can't do that yet. So you
You have
can't
to
like
lead your
send
men.
them out. You would have to. So like what you could do for that is you could just bring a small group of soldiers there. Then you could set up an outpost. Then you could leave them there. Like if
Mm,
you wanted to. But you can't send them out on their own. You
to
always have to
attack,
be
right?
leading. Yeah.
And then Marble Tomato wants to know: Are you going to build cavalry?
Yes, that's one of the updates that's going to be out, soon. I think that's not the next one, but that's the one after the next big one. But I don't really want to say like a whole lot about this, but I might end up, swapping those two.
Going one before
So
the
that
other. Yeah.
might end up being next.
Okay.
But you didn't hear it from me.
Sweet. You heard it here
Yep.
first, folks. No, I'm just kidding. So, Dark, on the archers and artillery Q&A, I suggested assassins, and you liked the idea. I just wanted to know if there was any status update on adding the ability to assassinate chieftains or things like that, or assassins coming to try and take you out.
No status update on that yet, but I still have that on my mind too. As something I could add in as like a fun, like addition.
Mm,
But that's like the sort of thing, where like the main updates are going to take
precedence.
higher. Right, exactly. I
Yeah.
have to do those first. And then if I have time to add in, like little things like that, I could. But it's hard
S-
to add in a bunch of
Yeah.
things at once.
So I see Carlos Mendez. Do you ever plan on adding duels? I already made the suggestion in your
Duels.
Discord. Yeah, that would be cool. Like if you went
Hmm.
up to a warband led by Cesarus or whatever,
Oh
and if
yeah.
like you guys lined up from each other. Also, it would be cool to see
That'd be funny.
a kind of pause where when you like meet a
Mm,
warband in the field, if they just like
yeah.
you guys like lined up and just sat
Yeah, and
across
they
from
were
each other
kinda
for a
like,
minute.
"Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh."
yeah, got
Yeah.
that. And then maybe like after like 30
Yeah.
seconds, then the archers start firing and then they start
Mm.
clashing. And then in that moment you could have a duel where it's like just you versus the chieftain. And then if you beat him, then the warband just runs off.
I'm I mean, I guess in theory I could do that. I could just set it, where like the warband would basically just stop, at like a certain distance, and then just, the chief, like would come after you. That would be sort of like a duel, I
Right.
suppose. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Guys, while we're
Yeah,
going through this, don't forget to go below the video and hit that strong thumb button. If you have weak thumbs, we feel bad for you.
definitely.
So let's see what else we got here. I believe Steam Workshop mod support. Any chance to making mods happen any
I would say
sooner?
mod support is there's a lower chance of that than multiplayer, just because of how difficult it is to add in mod support. It's actually
Okay.
a lot harder than most people think. Because you basically need to redesign your game. You know, with the tools in mind. For people to a- add in their own things. Which is not something that I've built the game in mind. With that
Gotcha.
in mind. But that's also something I have, like on the roadmap listed down there as just kind of, like a what if thing. So that's like
Yeah.
the kind of thing after all of, the main updates are done, I can look at that
And see
and
what
I can
other fun
think,
things. Yeah,
is this something I
once you
might be able to
actually
do?
have the whole entirety of what the game is going to be.
Right.
Because right now we're
Then
still
I can
building
think,
the
okay,
core of the
maybe I could do
game.
that. Yeah. Yeah. There's still
Right.
some things that are missing, that should be there before any of that comes
Here's a
in.
good one, and this is one that I don't think has been asked before by Chaotic Catholic. Will we be able to upgrade our personal equipment or have any type of, upgrading as you go through?
I've seen that one before.
Being
Yeah,
able to upgrade your own armor and things like
that's
that.
something I thought about, or just having, kind of like y- sort of, like a general e- editor, where you'd be able to change, like the look of, like your helmet, and
Mm.
stuff.
Oh, that would be
Because you
cool. I
can't.
think people would love
Yeah,
that.
that would be fun. Yeah. The thing is, you can't actually see, like your own character, in the game. But you know, that would be pretty cool. So
Right.
yeah, because then it would just use all of, like the same stuff, I already have in the game, but you would just be able to like swap out what you want.
Yeah.
You can change, like your style of sword, shield or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. And even
So
though you don't
that'd be
see
pretty
it
cool.
in game, it would be, just even if you go in the menu and
Yeah,
your guy's right here on the left of the screen, and
yeah, that would
then
be
you
cool,
can
right? Yeah,
change him and pick what you want to look like as you run in. You could even take a barbarian chieftain's helmet and put it on and run around with
yeah. And I
it.
could even have it where like you'd be able, you'd be able, like to unlock, certain things after, you know,
The quest,
you
well, you
get
can
one
add it
of
to the
the
quest
Steam
system.
achievements.
So yeah, and the
Yeah,
quests
right,
might get you things like
precisely.
maybe unlocking certain quests. Also, you can get things like you can get a larger quiver, so you can hold more arrows, or
Yeah,
things
that's
like
another
that.
thing too, like
Yeah.
things that'll actually help you, in battle. Yeah, that's something I'm also thinking about. Yeah,
Will there be an update
definitely.
to the environment?
That's one of the big roadmap updates. So that's
Okay.
actually the next one in line. Because I kind of wanted to rework some of like the trees and some of the stuff, just give it, a little bit of, a boost. I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about what exactly that means. Like it
Mhm.
might just be, me adding like more, more different, types of
Don't spam
trees
the
and
chat,
like
Julian.
little details and so we'll see. Got a spammer.
All right. So let's keep going here.
Oh
Guys,
shoot, I,
please.
I I need to get ready to
Oh,
launch the
gonna go
update now.
release. Okay, so guys, any more questions that you have, please come hop in the Boon and Bros Discord, which I posted in the top of the chat. It's also right up there on screen at the top with the code. Come in there. If you have any more questions, get them to me, and I will talk with the developer directly and try to answer them for
Yep.
you. Awesome. I'll go through some things that real quick. Horses. Yes, there will be horses. Will there be DLC for different timelines? Very doubtful. He's working on other games
No.
going on right
Yeah,
now.
not.
Cavalry and chariots. We'll talk about there in the cavalry, and then will there be any other enemy factions? No, I think it's just going to be the barbarians here in Britannia, and they come later. Stone walls. You know what? It might be cool to see random, like every once in a while, timing based, like a Viking ship will show up and just drop off a group of raiders that will raid the towns, but they'll also fight
That'd
you.
be kind of cool. Yeah.
So that might be a chance. But guys, thank you very much for coming in for the Warlord Britannia Q&A with Darkmatter. Everybody give a big round of applause for Darkmatter. And
Thank you
thank you
guys.
for
Thanks for
making
watching.
this game.
Yeah.
And we will be
Thanks for having me on.
going at 1 p.m. with the new update live here on the channel. So come check that out. And don't forget to get yourself the new update and play some Warlord Britannia today and get those clips into the Discord. Dark, thank you once again for joining us. And as
Thank you.
always, everybody, have a good afternoon.
Thank you. That was great.